I, Nana Addo Akuffo Addo.
Should the President of the Republic and his vice die while the transition process is ongoing,
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear,
or the new president is yet to assume power, what remedies are there in the law to ensure that there is continuity in government until the new president takes over on the 7th of January 2025?
That I will faithfully execute.
that I will faithfully execute.
That was exactly a question by one of my subscribers, and I get to explain what the law says to you in this video. We don't wish that our president dies, but should that happen, what does the law say?
Having been elected to the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana,
I am Godwin Selassie Dapo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal.
The office of President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
So I've always encouraged that you should drop your comments in the comment section so that I will reply to them, or I would address them in a very special way. So I decided to devote some few minutes of today's video to address a question that was asked by one of our subscribers, one of you who is listening to me now, and your question is an interesting one. You simply want to know something that relates to the transition process, and since we are doing a series on the transition process, I thought I should explain it to you so you understand, and everyone else who is interested should understand.
do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana, that I will at all times preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I dedicate myself to the service and the welfare of the people of the Republic of Ghana, and to do right to all manner of persons. I further solemnly swear that should I at any time break this oath of office, I shall submit myself to the laws of the Republic of Ghana and suffer the penalty for it. So help me God.
And what was the question? I get to read the question for you directly from our subscriber who asked in the comment section. And he is asking that, let's assume the current president and the vice president passed on, who then represent the outgoing president, and the vice president have passed on, hands over power to the upcoming government. There are some typos in the question, but I get what exactly he's trying to ask. His question is that should the president dies simultaneously with the vice president while the transition process is ongoing, or while the president-elect is yet to assume office, what happens in that scenario? And we'll get to explain that. Now, the law has a remedy, and it is not surprising at all that the law has talked about situations like that and made provision for it. So we'll read from Article 60 of the 1992 Constitution. Of course, that's the law you should always know about as a citizen of Ghana, or as anyone who lives in Ghana. You should know about the 1992 Constitution. So Article 60 is what we are resorting to today to answer the question for our cherished subscriber. And what does Article 60 say? I will start from Article 60 Clause 6. It says that whenever the president dies, resigns, or is removed from office, the vice president shall assume office as president for the unexpired term of office of the president, with effect from the date of death, resignation, or removal of the president. In a very simple term, the first scenario is where the president himself is the one who dies, or is removed from office, or he resigns. The president can choose to resign, but can you imagine with all this campaign and spending money to print billboards and announce to the whole nation that you want to be president, and they let you to occupy the office of the president, not done with your tenure, and they say you are resigning? Will Africa president do that? They will hardly do it, because even ministers are not having it easy with resignation, even when they are called upon by the public to resign. They don't do it. So I doubt a president would ever resign, but you may never know. So if the president chooses to resign, or he dies, or he's removed from office by due process of law, the law is saying that the vice president has to take possible to to talk about who else take over from the vice president and the president when they die simultaneously, not when one dies a day or 2 days before the other. No, because if the president dies today, that very moment the process will kick in to ensure that the vice president takes over. But if the vice and the president dies together, let's assume they are traveling on official duties to another country and there was a plane crash and both of them were in the plane. In that circumstances, I mean, if the two of them die, then we say they die simultaneously. Of course, the law will presume that the older person dies before the younger one, but that is for another discussion. So let's focus on today's. So if they die simultaneously, the law is that the Speaker of Parliament will take over as the president. Let's read what exactly the law says so we can understand and put it in a proper context or perspective. So the direct answer to the question would come from clause 11 of the 1992 Constitution. That is clause 11 of section 60 of the Constitution. It says that where the president and the vice president are both unable to perform the functions of the president, the Speaker of Parliament shall perform those functions until the president or the vice is able to perform those functions or a new president assumes office, as the case may be. Clause 13 of Article 60 is what directly addresses the question, and it says that where the Speaker of Parliament assumes the office of the president as a result of the death, resignation, or removal from office of the president and the vice president, there shall be a presidential election within 3 months after his assumption of office. So I think clause 11 and clause 13 put together is quite clear that if for some reasons the president and the vice are unable to perform the duties of the office of the president, then the Speaker of Parliament will be required to perform the functions of the office of the president until the president or the vice president are able to. Clause 13 goes on to say that when they are not able to perform the functions of the office because the president and the vice are dead, then the Speaker, while in office, there will be election for a new president to be elected within 3 months from the day the Speaker assumes office. In our case, which is the transition process, we have barely few days to the new president taking over, and we have had elections already. We have a president-elect on standby preparing to take over the administration of government. So should the president and the vice president die or for some reasons become unable to perform the functions of the president, the Speaker of Parliament will take over and perform the functions of the president. And remember, the law anticipates that the Speaker can only perform it for 3 months for a new election to be conducted, so that a new president will take over. So what it means is that the Speaker of Parliament would automatically take over and become the President of the Republic until January 7, 2025, when the President will take over. And the Speaker will be the one who will hand over the office of the President and all the machinery and, assets, liabilities of the government to President John Dramani Mahama. That is my opinion in view of the law. So just to rephrase it again, if we have the President, Nana Addo Akuffo, and the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, die any minute from now, the Speaker of Parliament will become the President of Ghana to ensure the completion of the transition process until a new president takes over on January 7, 2025. And because we have already elected a new president, we will not need to go for the polls again within 3 months after the Speaker assumes office just to elect a new president. I mean, that interpretation might not be very reasonable and prudent. So in my respectful view, I think if the president and the vice president die any moment from now, the Speaker will take over as the president and perform the functions of the president until January 7, 2025, when Mahama will take over as a substantive president. But it's important to note also that in the transition process, the Speaker of Parliament is already playing a very important role as a chairperson of the advisory council, the council that advises the transition team in the event of some issues. That council is the authority that has been empowered to advise the transition team. So if the Speaker of Parliament is the chairperson of that council, and that council only has 3 persons, the Speaker of Parliament and 2 eminent citizens appointed by President-elect and the incumbent president. So what it means is that he's going to be playing 3 roles at the same time. He'll be the chairperson of the advisory council, and he'll also be the Speaker of Parliament, and he'll also be the President of the Republic of Ghana, at least for some few days before January 7, when Mahama will take over as the president. In fact, we don't need the president to be alive necessarily for the handover to take place. It is a time set. When 7 January comes, President Akuffo's tenure ceases to exist, and the new president's tenure automatically kicks in. I believe that answers your question, and please feel free to ask more questions in the comment section. We'll address all of them, and please, when you get the answer, just give us a feedback. Let's know whether or not your question is answered in the comment section. Are you yet to subscribe to the channel? Why are you still waiting? You have to go ahead now and click the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel. We are excited to know that you are a subscriber. You are glued to YouTube, just waiting for notification. And we are excited that you support us by liking and sharing our video and dropping a comment for us to read. We don't take it lightly at all. We want to say thank you and God bless you. And don't forget to share the video with a friend. As usual, I am Godwin Selassie Dakbo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal.